In today's video, I'm going to tell you why you need to learn to mix by ear. Whether you are a nightclub DJ, want to be a nightclub DJ, happy just DJing in your bedroom or DJing at events, if you're mixing, you really ought to be learning to mix by ear because it will make you a better DJ in the long run. Now, let's get one thing out the way. I'm not here to slate the BPM functionality of decks today, so the sync function, the BPM counters, none of that. To be quite honest, if you're using sync to free up your time to do more creative stuff on the decks, then I'm absolutely cool with that. This is not one of those stupid arguments you see on social media all the time, slating this new technology that we find in every set of decks today. It is a bit different, obviously, to when I learned to DJ because we didn't have that kind of function, but I'm not against that type of technology. So now you know I'm not here to bash technology in this video, the BPM sync function on your equipment. What exactly am I talking about? Why is it so important to learn to mix by ear? What I want to get across is the concept of rhythms and beats and how to match rhythms of tracks, something that technology can't do. So first and foremost, what is a rhythm? Well, essentially, it can be any pattern of any sounds. A beat, on the other hand, is a particular type of rhythm. So think of a clock, for example, a tick-tock, 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 or a heartbeat, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. That's probably the worst heartbeat ever, but you get my idea. All dance music, all modern music, is very much a 4x4 beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whether it's house, hip hop, techno, trance, you should be able to count out that very solid beat. But underneath that main kind of beat is a lot of other sounds that make up the track, aka the rhythm. So whilst the beat is constant, each track will have many different rhythms. They're not all the same. Think of the kick drum as the overall driving force of the rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's that constant you can probably even forget about it. Meanwhile, underneath that initial kick drum are all types of other drums. Think of the hi-hat, the snare, and it's those elements that make up the rhythm. So with all of this in mind, as a general rule, rhythms mix well together when they have a similar pattern. And you'll start to hear this in records all the time when you are mixing. It comes with experience. A good thing to listen to is not just the kick drum, that 1, 2, 3, 4. And to be fair, if you're using sync, that's kind of taken care of by the software or the hardware that you're using. But a good thing to listen out for is the snare drum, that chip, 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 that kind of higher pitched drum. Worst impression ever, but you get the idea. But also as well, the hi-hat, that tss, tss, tss. If you're mixing two songs together and the drum patterns and those particular drums all fall in a similar place, then it's likely that you're going to have two tracks with similar rhythms that are going to mix well together. It does get a little bit more complicated in that though, because sometimes tracks that have different rhythms can also mix quite well together because they are complementary rhythms. There is no simple rule on getting this right, unless you really want to get into some complicated music theory, which I'm not going to do today. But a DJ will simply match the rhythms by doing the mixing in the headphones. So you have to learn to do this by ear. Do a test mix in the headphones, and if it sounds like it makes musical sense in your headphones, then it's going to sound good on the dance floor. If it sounds like it's a bit confusing in the headphones, then it's probably time to pick a different track, because if you're confused, if it doesn't sound right to you, then the dance floor is probably going to be a little bit confused and not enjoy the mix. Before I jump on the decks and give you an example, I want to try and paint you a picture of when you're mixing a track. You're almost trying to force two imaginary drummers to play together, okay, on a stage that have never met before. Drummer A is playing, you're introducing drummer B into the mix. Now, sometimes they're going to get along absolutely fine. They're going to love each other. They can play alongside each other. But sometimes they're just not going to be getting on because they haven't got rhythms that are complementary or similar enough. And when that happens, you're going to be creating a mix that is very, very complex, very confusing, and it will just put dancers off. Because the last thing that you want is your dance floor to sound like some kind of massive machine gun battle where all your dancers leave and end up going to the bar. Let's jump on the decks and I'll give you a bit more of an example. I hope I'm not confusing you too much. Okay, so here we are at the controller now. Apologies for the camera angle, limited setup and limited room, but you don't really need to see what's going on the top here. This isn't a mixing tutorial. All you need to know is in this first example, we've got a track loaded in deck A track loaded in deck B. They are beat matched, playing at the same speed. And these two tracks are both complementary when it comes to rhythm. So you can see what a seamless mix this would sound like. So this is the first example. So there we have it. Those are two tracks playing simultaneously if you use sync or if you mixed by ear, and that's not a confusing mix at all. Your dance floor would be pretty happy with that. Now what we're going to do is show you an example whereby we have two tracks, but the rhythms are incompatible, causing confusion on the dance floor. And just like this first mix, they are going to be running at the same speed, so they are going to be beat matched. Now you can see there, on the second track I brought in my opinion, there were just too many drum beats. There's too much going on, too many drums per almost second of track in comparison with the first one, and the rhythms just don't quite fit together, and it's almost very hard to tell. It's like it's beat matched, it should be perfectly in time, but there's something off and you're not quite sure what it is. If you're finding a situation like that, the chances are your rhythms are not compatible. So there we have it, guys. My reasons as to why you need to learn to mix by ear. Do some test mixes in your headphones. It's all a question of rhythm. Hope you found this video useful. Like this video if you haven't done so already. Subscribe to the channel and I will see you in the next one.